Welcome everybody to Service Drive Revolution. Jeremy and Adam are here and we got some exciting stuff to share with you today. We're going to go through and talk about some tools that you can use to drive traffic into your shop and keep your technicians busy. We're going to talk about some online training that we have coming up and our reading list. What are we reading during this lockdown? I think the beard's coming in nicely there, Jeremy. It looks really good.
I was hoping for a compliment. I also wanted to manage the neck beard part of it. I didn't want to pull off the Kyle Orton too much. So I'm kind of walking that balance right there.
Kyle Orton?
I appreciate the compliment, though. It means a lot.
Kyle Orton?
Yeah, Kyle Orton, man. Best game managing QB ever.
Really? Like not Tom Brady, not Peyton Manning, like Kyle, really?
Hey, he gave us an opportunity for the Super Bowl, so it's the last little glimpse of hope, Go Bears.
We would have won it. We would have won it.
Nice. Rex Grossman.
Yeah, oh, God.
So are you guys going a little stir crazy?
No, yeah, a little bit. It's
little bit.
I'm down in my fallout shelter down here. Hopefully, my kids don't come down here. I can't promise that they won't.
Well, I've been reading a lot of books, but one, have you guys heard about the Tao of Wu?
No.
So RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan. Are you guys familiar with the rock and roll band, the Wu-Tang Clan?
A little bit. Heard him.
I've heard that you don't want to mess with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Or you want to learn from them. But it's pretty good. It's kind of like in the spirit of the art of war or that sort of thing in martial arts. But there's a lot of good quotes in here. I like it. It's it's interesting. What have you guys been reading?
I've been reading Influenced by Robert D. Cialdini.
Cialdini?
I think, yes, that guy.
That's a great book.
I started out, I've always been interested in psychology and people and what motivates people and what doesn't. I used to be a pawnbroker back in, a few years ago, and I learned a lot about people at the time and what people do under stress and how they act and how you can kind of turn around their experiences or get them to do things or motivate them. And that book kind of touches on a lot of those points because it goes along like some strategies that like top performing companies use to motivate people, as well as some techniques that you can use to motivate people. It's really good for anyone that sees a customer, that faces a customer. It really helps you understand like what kind of tactics you can use to help people see your perspective, essentially. So like scarcity is one of them, peer pressure is another one. I mean, there's just a lot of good information in it, and it's all backed up by research.
That's what I love about the book is like they try it like a bunch of different ways and then they see the result, right? Because there's like it very much puts you in the mindset of you have actions that you take, and then from those actions are outcomes. And if you change those actions, what happens? Like, there's two studies in that book that I love. One is the reciprocation one, where they're like in a mall and they're walking up to people with a clipboard. They get them in a room and they're asking them to donate money to the Boys and Girls Club. And I forget the exact numbers, but if they did it to 100 people and only like 3 people gave money or something. And then they did the same thing with 100 people. The only thing they changed is when they brought them in the little room, they opened a Coke, poured it, and said, "Oh, you look thirsty." And then asked them for money, and their donations were like 60%, just because they said, "You look thirsty," and gave them a Coke. The law of reciprocation. And the other one is a piano store where they take them into the piano store and show them the lowest cost one, and their average sale is like $400. Then they take another group of people and they show them the big grand piano that's 25 grand, and their average sale is like double by showing the customer the first one, the highest one, which I think applies to service advisors when they're when they're selling, like a lot of them won't just tell the customer everything they need. But if you tell them everything they need, your average is going to be higher, right, than piecemealing it or assuming.
Oh yeah. Once you make a big purchase, also the little things like the upsells you would have, the services, those kind of fade away behind the big thing that you're already purchasing, I think. And that's why a lot of protection plans and stuff like that get sold when people sell appliances, because you're already spending $3,000, and what's another 300? You know, that kind of thing.
You want fries with that?
Yeah, exactly. And I always do. I always want fries.
Portillo's fries.
Yes, Portillo's fries, not In-N-Out fries.
I always have a salad at Portillo's, so I wouldn't know. What are you reading, Adam?
I've been reading Get Out of Your Own Way by Larry Wingett. I think I'm pronouncing that correct.
The world's first demotivational speaker, Larry Wingett.
Your first demotivational speaker?
That's how he brands himself. He's like, I'm the pit bull of personal development. I'm the world's first demotivational speaker.
I just love his titles of the books. They're kind of engaging, right? So what I think is interesting, especially kind of like in our realm, I think we talked a little bit about it in the last session, but it's just, it's real easy sometimes to kind of get into a spot, or even prior to everything that's going on, just looking at, excuses and trying to figure out a way like, why is this happening in this, or why is this happening to me? It kind of shines a little bit of light on looking outside and really just trying to figure out, okay, so maybe I'm the problem, or, let's control things that we can control, and to improve certain items. And I really like getting out of your own way, because there's some things that you're probably standing in your own way. So I'm thinking in the realm of like our service departments, we have opportunities to look at certain items that we might be able to fix that are probably inhibiting us to succeed, that maybe even prior COVID-19 that we haven't had an opportunity to really look at. Maybe we could start looking at those type of items. And I think that's where, when we're all talking about this, sharpening the axe and sharpening our tools, really let's look at some of those tools. Are they really getting in our way of success, or are they really, can they enable us? Maybe we have an opportunity here to kind of look at some of those items. So it's really kind of an interesting self-reflection, I think one book that's always kind of comes into mind is like Who Moved My Cheese? Change. I'm a millennial. I like to think I like change, but I really, in certain aspects probably don't really like it that much. And I think there's different levels of change, but I think that kind of coincides with this. Like, we are being faced with so much change right now, right? And especially for our service locations, our customers, it's really kind of exciting to see all of the changes happening, and also how people are adapting to it. I think people are going to get better from it.
Well, I think people that choose to get better will get better, but it's a choice.
That's true.
Like, the thing that I really think about in these times is like, I enjoy awkwardness and pain, because you always learn about human nature. You learn about yourself and about human nature, right? And so whenever there's like a customer experience that's bad or whatever, like I love to like kind of watch how people handle it, how they react. It's a lot like the book Influence too, in a way. Like it's a study. So right now it's interesting. Like some managers are going to gain market share and some are going to lose, and it's really a choice on your mindset, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Today we were talking about it in our huddle. It's going to be interesting to see businesses in general, whether they're small or large, how do they come out of all of this? The ones that are thinking and working differently to keep pushing forward, and how they interact with this, or how they react to this, or prepare for this, reaction. How is this truly going to change them? Are they going to make it?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Back to the Larry Wingett thing, though. My favorite Larry Wingett book is Shut Up, Stop Whining, and Get a Life. I'm not joking. Like, I got that book in a time before I was friends with Larry and I knew him, where I needed it. Like, it's a really good book, especially if you're feeling sorry for yourself.
Hey, stop feeling sorry for yourself. That's all we got in this push forward, right?
Yeah, Larry's got a really good way of framing that. He's a really good writer, and his stuff is really good. We'll try to in the video. We'll put a link to his stuff on there, and these books that we're talking about. But I think too, like to your point, which I think is really good, is even like when we're talking about doing virtual training, right? So we worked really hard at doing this classroom training that we were getting close to, perfecting and having a real system for it. And then now this happens and we can't do it. And so with my team, it's like, well, how could we, we were talking about it this morning on our team call, our little morning shift meeting. Like, how can we create an interactive virtual training for managers and advisors that maybe we have, maybe we figure out a way that it's better than the live. I don't know, but let's go into it with the mindset that we're going to create something that's really special and not feel bad about the fact that we work so hard on what we can't do now, right? How can we harness technology and reinvent it in a way that is interactive and produces a different sort of result? And the thing that'll happen is we'll learn stuff from it, right? It's going to make us better because we're going to learn from going outside our comfort zone and pushing through it. But that's one thing we wanted to talk about on here too, is we're gonna start doing the service manager one virtually coming up on, is it the 13th, Jeremy?
Yeah, the week of the 13th. We're gonna have a session on Monday, Tuesday, and a session on Wednesday and Thursday.
And that'll be fun to do it that way.
Will we have a jam session in between, Mr. Michaels? I can always get the hashtag, to 11. Just get it that extra little bit.
Again, no, we're not doing that. It's just not happening at this point. I'm sorry, Adam. I don't want to disappoint you, but yeah, I've heard my voice in a singing environment. It's not good.
Guilty feelings got no rhythm, though it's easy to pretend.
But I think this is going to be better than ever. I'm really excited about this virtual thing. We're not gonna slide you to death. We're gonna provide value, and we're gonna provide you with information you need to know.
Yeah, and it's gonna, on our end, it's gonna force us. Every manager that's signed up, we're gonna touch them beforehand. We're gonna go through their stuff before they get on it, so they're ready. So it might, we might learn some things from it, how to help the managers beforehand and have a better pregame,
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's one thing that's coming out of it, is they're not going to be able to get on the virtual class and not be ready. Where live, you can kind of figure it out.
Yep, absolutely.
So then the other thing is tools that they can drive traffic.
Yeah, it's tool time. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to take a couple minutes to reach out and present you with some of the things that we think will help you in this hard environment. If you're one of those managers that is looking at this as an opportunity, like how can I come out of this stronger than before? Well, we have a bunch of tools that we can use, my team does, that can help you and grow your business. And the one we wanted to talk about today was Service Sales Dashboard. So this is accessible from the Diamond Edge site. It's in our action plans, and it's Service Sales Dashboard. So what it does is it takes your sales that are listed by closed ROs. It compiles that into a visual dashboard where you can actually look at your customers and break down the parts and labor sales, as well as your margin for each of these customers, as well as seeing how you lost or grew their sales over the period of time. So if you load 3 years of data, you're going to have 3 years of data to compare the sales. So it's really useful because you can actually see the customers where you've gained and the customers you've lost, as well as the customers you're like selling lots of parts to and no labor, or lots of labor and no parts. You can tailor your business around that. So for example, if you have a customer you're selling lots of labor but no parts, well, then you can work on growing their parts sales. If they're selling them lots of parts but no labor, get them in there, get some services done, see how you can build value that way. We also have another function of this dashboard is top 10 customers. It will list all your top 10 customers from the data, as well as whether you've gained or lost per those top 10 customers. So it takes the emotion out of the equation and presents you with data that you can use. So in this time of a lot of dealers that I've spoken to, that I've seen, they have a lot of capacity. They're sending their technicians home, which we don't want to do. So instead of doing that, use this dashboard. We will help you set it up. Contact us. We can work with you and your DMS and figure out how to get this dashboard working for you. And then from there, look into your customers, see which ones you haven't brought in for a while, and start to ask those questions. Ask the 5 whys. Why are our customers not coming through anymore? Is it because of this situation we're dealing with now, or is it some other reason?
Yeah, like we're not controlling the narrative, right? Exactly. Like if we were going to our customers that have their own technicians and we said the narrative is keep your people safe, send them home, we'll work on it, we'll do it, because we're an essential business. We're controlling the narrative, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And now we can even think of like what we were talking about earlier, thinking working a little bit differently, and we're learning from this. How can we provide a different level of service? Is it shuttling back and forth? Thinking about different ways of communicating back and forth and how to get these services. It might be a little bit different from, dropping off your car, but we can still implement a lot of those different things and sharing those ideas. I feel like, especially when we're trying to reach out to those customers and providing a different level of service. Maybe it is the customer experience that has driven them off. Maybe there's different ways of when we were talking about, Jeremy, you're just saying retail sales, right? Maybe there's different spiffs that we can package together, teaming up with our parts organization or the parts side of the business, to where we can sell more of those hours and saying, hey, let's put this package deal, right? And then let's add a cleaning service, into it, and really supporting them. And it's not about, just trying to really truly like just upsell and the profit, but it's really just taking care of the customers.
Yeah. I think the thing to realize too, and this is one thing that I'm running into over and over again, is you have to understand that the model that we were using 2 months ago isn't the model right now. The model right now is to think differently, to think about how can we serve our customers and our community and be the heroes and gain market share while our competition's sitting at their desk worried and polarized because they're watching Fox News all day. We got to change. So some of our, some people that we have that were doing something the other day might be picking up trucks and might be shuttling. Like you have to think that this is a whole different system, and the old way we did things doesn't have to be the canned way that we do it. We gotta think a little bit different.
Absolutely, and we're all here to help you.
Yep, it's changed. The cheese has been moved.
You like that book, right? Who Moved My Cheese?
Dude, it's so simple. I'm a simple person, Chris.
I feel like that book could have been put into like 2 paragraphs.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but it's good. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, understand that your competition is sitting there worried just like we are, and if we can rise above that mentally and think about how can we be the solution. That's the real test of leadership, is being the solution and stepping into it instead of running away from it,
The best thing is you have a support structure too, right? We can do it as a team. You don't necessarily always have to do it by yourself either, but it takes one person, like you said, leadership, step up and let's corral together.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. Anything else, gentlemen?
Not for this time.
Okay, we're going to start doing these every week, right?
Yeah, we are.
So we're going to have a new tip for you every week on ways you can drive traffic and ways other managers are serving their customers and doing business in a better way. And then we could do the reading list too every time.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure we're all burning through a book a week at least, right?
Oh, for
I'm going to
sure.
start. I've been lagging, I'll be honest.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Keep up the good work. Let us know if there's any way that we can help or be a resource, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.